Take a look at some of the new features that we have in our JavaScript in 2026. Ecmascript introduces several features focused on improving resource management, handling asynchronous operation, and enhancing data manipulation. The Ecmascript standard are responsible for what goes on in the language standardization and development. And the new features that you are looking at here are not released yet, but they are some of the things that are likely to be part of the program when it is being released. I think the release usually happen around June or something. So they are not yet released, but then there are things that are already specified to be part of the language going forward. Now, one of the new features is the new date object. So now we have a temporal date that will be part of the language, most likely once they pass the final draft, and it's going to improve the new date object that we are used to in JavaScript. The purpose of all these new features is just to improve the resource management in the language, to help with handling of asynchronous operation and also enhancing data manipulation. So most times they are being released in order to make what has already been existing better, and in order to make the language simple enough for anyone to be able to use it and then work inside of it. So that's the reason why you see improvements coming to the language every now and then. So the temporal API in JavaScript 2026 provide standard objects and functions for working with dates and times. From ES 2026, the temporal API is the standard for modern date and time management in JavaScript, designed to replace the legacy date object. So one example of improvement and enhancement is this temporal API. So once if it is eventually released, so it can be something that will eventually replace the legacy date object that we already know, that we've always been used to when it comes to working with date and time in JavaScript. Now, unlike dates, temporal objects are immutable and provide first-class support for time zones and non-Gregorian calendars. You agree with me that using the date object, which has become a legacy part of JavaScript now, if it is being replaced, you will agree with me that it's actually can be tricky sometimes when trying to work with things like time zones and then calendar. And one of the reasons why this temporal API was introduced is that it could just cater to that lagging part and actually improve how we work with time and date in JavaScript. Another one is the resource management with using and await using. So the JavaScript 2026 added two keywords to automatically manage and dispose resources like file handles or database connection when they go out of scope, reducing the need for explicit try and finally blocks. When you want to connect to database, so usually you look to try and catch blocks to make your connection such that if the connection is successful, it will connect, and if it fails, then the error can be catch in the catch block and then be returned back to the user. So the using keyword can help provide synchronous cleanup of block codes variables, and await using can provide a synchronous cleanup for resources like network stream. Another thing is the error detection with error is error method. So this is another method. It's a static method to reliably check if a value is an error object, improving error handling and debugging. Then also we have the asynchronous array creation with the array dot from async method. So the array dot from async method is a feature that allows developer to create a new array instance from asynchronous retrievals, array-like objects or promises, streamlining the handling of data from async sources. Also, we have the base 64 and hexadecimal encoding for Unit 8 array. So this has to do with working with basis in the JavaScript language. Then also we have immutability with record and tuples. This is a stage three proposal. Like I said, that all these features have not been released yet, but there are proposed changes that will come to the language in year 2026. And finally, we have pattern matching. This also is a stage three proposal, which is not something that is already in the language, but they are just proposed changes that are likely to take effect when a new features is released in the language. So these are just some of the things to look forward to in another release in 2026, and the purpose is just for uh, continuous and improved standardization of the language to make it more robust, more user friendly, more performant, and to enhance data manipulation when using the JavaScript programming language.